Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 28 of the Unfinished Basement podcast. I'm Julian, and I'm joined here today with my fellers Lucas, and returning back to the podcast is Joe, who was absent last week. But today we've got some interesting videos to comment on, and but obviously we're going to start with our Ask Reddits just to keep up with consistency. But in case just to give a brief overview, if you haven't watched the Great Realization, it's on YouTube. You can give it a quick watch because we have some thoughts on that video and their larger implications. Also, there's some controversy going on with a very famous professional League of Legends player, and we're also going to discuss that a little bit too. So before we start, I just want to ask, how you guys doing this morning or afternoon?
Pretty good, man. Got nothing going on. It's the same as last week, pretty well.
Yeah,
So, you know, that's how it be pretty much on
Mm-hmm.
the home front.
Yeah. Yeah.
fighting the
Nice.
good fight, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Staying home, doing the same thing every day.
Right
But
now, aside from healthcare workers, that's as good as the fight can be, you know?
mhm.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
So that's
Oh
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it for us on that. I also just wanted to add to that. I don't remember what, so it's not that important, obviously.
Oh, I will add. Um, check out the website if you haven't checked out already. We got rid of the .squarespace as part of our domain, so that's nice.
We're
And
independent now.
Yeah.
yeah, we're big boys now, and also we've been writing some blog posts and putting them up to the website for your reading pleasure.
hmm
Yeah, and that's something we're going to be doing a bit more regularly now, and just give more content, more reach, and yeah,
Yeah, kind
that's
of
about
turn
it.
this into like some multimedia,
Yeah.
not just the podcast, and like Joel said, reach because sometimes our podcasts range anywhere from an hour and 10 minutes to as long as 3.5 hours we've had before, and if we talk
Mhm.
specifically on one subject that maybe someone might be interested in, it's really tough to sift through that long, especially if we're nobodies. Like our name isn't really out there, so no one's gonna take the time to do that. At least with blog
Hmm.
posts, maybe we can condense some of these ideas into a written form, and people can kind of click on that, read through it, as opposed to listening to a full episode just to get one piece of information that maybe they wanted if they've never heard how entertaining we could be.
Mhm.
Yeah, and also like there's comments, there's like comment sections there too. That's another place where you guys can interact with us.
And with one another. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're trying our best to build a little community out of this too.
Most
So
definitely.
as much as we like to do this for our own leisure and stuff like that, we do like to see kind of a little bit of growth in
Yeah.
our little following that we're creating because it's a pretty cool thing. It really is.
Yeah, exactly. So shall we kickstart the Ask Reddit Heart?
Most definitely.
We may as
All
well.
right.
Sorry for this. For my phone right now, boys. I'm just posting on our
You're taking
Twitch or on our
photos.
Instagram rather to let people know that we are live now.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent
And
too.
that's that. All right. Perfect. Yeah, that's right. So we can start off with the Ask Reddit, and I guess I'll open it up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
Okay. So as a kid, or this one comes from user Neil Ader, Ader. And the question reads: As a kid, what misconceptions did you have about other countries or another country? Is how I'm gonna answer the question.
Mm-hmm. I think mine is like everyone's as a kid. You can dig straight down and you'll hit China. I think
Fair.
everyone had that misconception as a kid. Um,
Yeah.
But as far as like an actual place goes, honestly, this is when I was really, really young. I didn't really think that an ocean separated us. I just kind of thought that like you could just drive to anywhere.
You're
Ah,
a
Because we did
flat
a
sure.
lot of
earther, eh?
yeah, because we did a lot of driving
Yeah.
when I was younger to a lot of places in the States and a few places in Canada as well. So I just thought that you know what, you can just hop in a car and go anywhere.
You can get to Mexico.
Mhm.
You can definitely
Yeah,
get
you
to
can go all the
Mexico.
way to Argentina. Yeah, through the Panama Canal. It connects north and south.
I just realized I'm an idiot because obviously you can get to Mexico. There's a border. There's a border crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're in the same continent.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. I don't know
But
why I
yeah,
thought
you
that
can go. You can
was.
drive to South America.
That's fucking cool. That I didn't know. Panama
Yeah,
Canal. Does it
people
actually
do it all the
connect, or do
time.
you have to take? Do you have to hop on some ferries?
That I don't know. I think you might have to hop on a ferry, but
Yeah.
like people, like those hippies who like restore the VW vans,
Oh yeah,
the
yeah.
buses. They go on trips from like I don't know Alaska to South America.
Jesus.
Looks pretty cool, but pretty dangerous at the same time. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
a
aside from
scaleless
that,
journey.
yeah, you'd probably have to have a little bit of money to make it that far.
Oh yeah, for sure,
Um,
for sure.
for me, I'd say mine was. You know what? This was changed for me. I learned a little more recently than I'd like to admit. You guys know the country Singapore?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I always thought it was Singapore.
Singapore.
Yeah,
Oh Lord.
always. And I think it's because in Pirates of the Caribbean, they spoke of Singapore. And when I was young and watching the movie, like, because this is in my head, the first time I ever heard of Singapore was watching Pirates of the Caribbean. So that's what I'm attributing it
Mhm.
to. And I always just thought that they said Singapore in the movie. So, and again, yeah, that was changed for me a hell of a lot more recently than I'd like to admit, or even will admit, for that matter.
That's hilarious, man.
Yeah,
Singapore.
yeah, yeah. So that's
Well,
my misconception about Singapore.
when I was younger, I had a misconception about the United States that a lot of it was like pretty much like New York, like just developed urban centers.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went there for the first time, I think I was maybe like 10 when I crossed the border for the first time,
Hmm.
and I was just so it was just so strange to me when I got out of the car for the first time. Like it was in Buffalo where we went, and it was like pretty much exactly, well, not exactly the same. It looks like maybe a bit more of a shithole than here, but like it was a similar sort of layout, like with the parking lots and all that, and like those plazas and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and even like the landscape is identical.
Hmm. Hmm.
And well, obviously it's not the same for the entire country because they have like way more diverse biomes than we do,
Yeah, dude, they
with
got
like the
everything here,
deserts and
man.
shit. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was a little shocked to realize that.
Hmm. Hmm. For sure. Yeah, it's I feel like that's I feel like I probably had the a similar misconception when I was young, definitely. And even driving through something somewhere like Buffalo or
Hmm.
Michigan, like it's so similar yet looking around, like you still don't feel as though you're home. It still feels
Yeah.
More America than it does
Oh yeah.
anywhere I've been in Canada. But it's the same shit. Like it's
Hmm.
yeah, like you said, it's the same. You see a plaza there, you see the type of roads and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's still just it feels different, definitely.
Mm.
Yeah.
And like also where we're from in Canada, like it's more developed than the majority of the country. So I'd say that also kind of plays into it.
Yeah. Um. Next question.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, I'll take this one.
All right.
Um, and I'll answer it real quick. So
Mm-hmm.
it's what's this one comes from user Sammer Down. I guess he was trying to say simmer down. I'm not sure. But Sammer Down asks, what's something you've lost interest in as you've gotten older? And for me, real quick, right off the bat, it's Pokemon, and real sad about that. because I used to love Pokemon. I have my DS right there with Fire Red in it and Soul Silver in the top cart. So yeah, I try. Sometimes I try to go back to them, but I can only play for like 10 minutes max because it just gets so boring real quick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, man, games are so like, dude, the advancement that we've had in games, even the Pokemon games that have come out today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know that they're not all that different in terms of the core, the core of the objective and stuff, but how they look and what you can do in them now. Because I know they recently made like that kind of 3D model, open world style
Yeah,
Pokemon game. I don't know if it's any good or not, but
it is.
yeah, there you go. But it's definitely like games have changed so much and developed so far that Pokemon games, it makes sense that you can't really, or that you didn't
Yeah.
hold the interest, considering how much more crazy shit there is out there today
Mm-hmm.
hmm
and how accessible it is too.
Um, for me, it's more so personal than it is like embodied by like video games and stuff like that. Honestly, I stopped caring what people think about me. So that's kind of my thing. I used to really care and be like really self-conscious
Mhm.
about like, especially about like my height and stuff like that. When people would mention it, kind of like put me down.
Mhm.
Now I'm kind of just like, I kind of just shrug it off and it's like, okay, this is who I am. It is what it is. So that's kind of what I've learned to cope with.
That's a good one
And
to have, man. Like it's good
yeah,
that
honestly, it makes me feel a hell of a lot better. So I'm very happy I developed that trait.
yeah,
Yeah,
for
you
sure.
gotta have that, man.
Yeah, you have to have thick skin nowadays because well, I mean, you know what? The world is turning into a place where if you do have thin skin, they're kind of catering to you now because everybody attacks over everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's better to sit in the shadows and do your own thing and avoid that, to be honest.
No, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, you can't abide by the the gelatin world that's around us, you know? You gotta try to still keep things in the reality of the or in the realm of reality, and
Mm-hmm.
recognize that the world isn't made of jelly, and there's gonna be some shit out there that offends people, and not in like I
Mm-hmm.
don't mean like blatant, I don't mean objectively offensive things that shouldn't be said or done, but I mean like this new wave of stuff that you think really shouldn't cause such a ruckus, yet it does. You
Mm-hmm.
can't be offended by all the little things out there, I guess. Very
No
little
way,
things.
brother.
But for me, I'd say that, and this hurts me to say because actually, I'll preface it by saying I'm still a big hockey fan. I still watch hockey during the season. Still a diehard Leafs fan. But in terms of playing hockey, man, when I was young, it was like, for all of us, I'm sure, like
Mm-hmm.
growing up, you're playing street hockey in the summer every single day. You're playing hockey in the winter, like that's everything that you want to do. It's everything you're talking to
hmm
people in school about hockey. You make little enemies around the hallways because you play against them in hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was kind of like life. But
Mm-hmm.
I really don't have it in me anymore, man, to play hockey, and it hurts because I
Yeah.
still love the sport and once loved it even more. And I never thought that that's something that would go away. Like, how's that possible? And frankly, dude, I'd rather meet up with the boys and play soccer a lot of the time. And that is also
And
something
even
that,
that's a struggle to get going.
of course, it's not that we
Oh
do
yeah.
it often, but when I think about like, oh yeah, all right, let's run a game with the boys. I think, oh well, let's play soccer. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. We've progressively played less and less hockey
Oh
as
yeah.
the winter seasons have gone by.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I think once you lose that like hockey community that you were kind of talking about, especially like with school and stuff like that, with high school and all that, where everyone was kind of it was a competition and everyone was kind of on top of one another in speaking about hockey, and it was always relevant in someone's mind.
yeah.
I think since we're lacking that, it's kind of fading away just because like we don't really have any competition or any hockey to look forward to
Yeah.
in that sense. Like,
Man, we had some good little rivalries around the halls of Joan. Eh?
oh yeah, we did.
It was
Oh
fun,
yeah.
man. It was fun.
Oh
Some
yeah.
people that like, and it was with at least like oftentimes for me is with dudes that like I really did not even know. Like I barely spoke with them before. In the same grade,
Mhm.
obviously, I barely spoke with them before, but you still knew that fucking prick when you walked by him in the halls,
Yeah.
you know, and you'd still give him the look, and he'd still give you the look, and then
Everyone had their top 5 list.
yeah,
Everybody knew who the best goalie was, who the best wingers were,
for
who the
sure.
best shutdown D was, and everyone would just go on about that and just be like, and people would talk about your game and you weren't even there.
Yeah, yeah.
And they'd be like,
Honestly,
"Oh, do you know what do you think's gonna happen in their game?" Well, they're playing against so and so, and like they got better forwards and better D, but like their goaltending's not as good, so I don't know. It's like
yeah, dude. Remember we used
people
to
full on.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, go ahead. No, people full on went at it like it was ESPN, like it was a like they were sitting at a desk and there was cameras pointing at them, and
Yeah,
they were debating.
yeah.
But
And then I remember this one time that we were through the next round of the playoffs and we all stuck around to watch the next game because it was
hmm
going to decide who we were playing. And there was one team that we specifically wanted to play. It was so funny, dude. We all stood up after X team won and we were kind of amped up about it. We like cheered a little bit, shook one another's hands, and all left. Like we were some scouts or something, you know?
yep,
Yeah. Fuck. Those were good
missed those
times, man.
days.
Yeah.
Missed them quite a bit.
Shit. What are you gonna do? Now we gotta rely
Organized
on
sports.
now we gotta rely on our sons to play organized sports for us. And,
Jesus Christ.
We could
and
play, man. We could play.
We
yeah,
could
Yeah,
play, but this
and men's
hockey
league they're out for
especially,
blood, but we just gotta go out for blood too.
I
Dog eat
can't, man.
dog.
I will get killed. It's doggy
Nah, man,
chihuahua.
just slash ankles and shit, you know.
No, no.
man, I'd love to play men's league, but a style of men's league that I think turns me on more is more so you have say you find a way to gather up like maybe 25 guys. I know 25 already it sounds impossible, but
Mm,
25 guys. What you do is you rent out like a ridiculous time slot, like say York University or like the York University Ice as an example. You rent it out every single Friday. It's 11 o'clock. You pitch down so that it's like you have the next 8 weeks are all it's all your time slot, and you get the same 25 guys. You split up into two teams. You keep on splitting up the teams. I feel like that's a better way to do it because you still get to play hockey once a week. There's still a level
mhm.
of competitiveness to it, and you're not going up against 8 different teams where all of a sudden there's bad blood between your team and the other team, and then it turns into
Hmm.
some just honestly mockery of hockey
Yeah.
considering our age, you know? Like
Mhm.
when you're young and when you're 15, 16, 17, 14, 12, 8, like and you're all hopped up. Maybe 8's young, whatever. 12, 13, 14, you start getting that testosterone and stuff. You're all hopped up, you're all young boys, young men. You know, there's that energy in you, there's that fire in you. You want to go out there and take some heads off. Like that's different, but as everyone always says, you know, I got work in the morning type thing. And
Mhm.
when I was 18 playing men's league, I'm not sure that I really quite understood that because I was still like a young body compared to all my teammates who were 23, 24. One of them was 28, and we're going up against guys who are 32 years old. At 18 years
Mhm.
old, which is the last time I played men's league, I didn't even really relate to that yet because I was like, yeah, work in the morning, sure thing. Man, I got work in the morning too. Who gives a fuck? Let's go out there and fucking bang
Yeah.
some bodies.
Yeah.
But but now, you know, turning 24 and like just my general I don't know, man. Yeah, definitely I can relate to that more
Mhm.
now. So I think that if we wanted to play men's league, it'd be a good idea to try to wrangle up as much guys as we possibly can, and commit to like 8 weeks or whatever in the winter.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say I think it'd just be a good idea for all of us to just quit our jobs so no one's gonna say we got work in the morning.
Fuck,
Oh
missed
my
opportunity. It's
goodness.
all right. You saved me.
Yeah. No, but like even like I still play men's league soccer and throughout all of winter, throughout all of summer. And you hear it literally every single game. If it's not someone on your team, it's someone on the other team. Hey man, relax. I got work in the morning.
Yeah.
And it literally it's like you're kind of just there. You lose that competitive edge kinda
Hmm.
because everyone's just there to get their fix
For sure. For sure.
as opposed to actually play the sport, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is what it is now. That's what we got to stick with.
Yeah, like we'll never be able to replicate the
Oh no,
competitiveness of playing as young kids.
absolutely not. Not unless you go pro.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, definitely. And you know what's cool is that it's cool and uncool in the same way. We can be very competitive in now video games that we play,
Yeah,
but what's weird is that for like there's going to be now a wave of young people who play video games competitively in their young days, but are kind of like
yeah.
the equivalent of AAA, but then never make it,
Hmm.
or the equivalent of like an OHL type style thing, but never end
Hmm.
up making it to the pro teams. And for them, it's
Hmm.
gonna be like, oh fuck, I can never play video games the way I can never have that competitiveness in games as I did when I was young. For us, we never
Yeah.
really hit that level of competitiveness, so right now is equally as competitive as the games were last year
Oh,
for
the
us, or
most, if
the
anything.
most exactly,
Yeah,
because we were never involved in that kind of in that scene. Well, the scene didn't exist, frankly, when we were.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when the internet first came out. Everyone kind of jumped on the internet, right?
Hmm.
We grew up with the internet, so like we kind of like we were with the curve. But then like there are the kids that are like, let's say from like they were born in like 2004. They grew up with this internet and all that, so they don't know what it's like to like not have this technology at your fingertips. So it's kind of like the
Yeah, dude.
same thing there. But like
Like,
these guys that are streaming or what's it called that are like ex pro gamers or they were about to become pro gamers, like the example you just used,
hmm,
and like they didn't make it, you can always fall back on streaming. You know what I mean? Like
that's true.
that's what's kind of cool about it. Like they can still make a career out of it, especially if it's in video games. Like you
Mm.
can still pursue something because you're your own brand when
Yeah,
you
and
stream.
as long as they're entertaining and can
Exactly.
convert that, that'd be good.
Some people don't
That'd be
even have
good
to
to
be
have.
entertaining, man. Some people are just good at the game and people watch.
Yeah, that's true.
Nowadays, you have to have a face cam. If you don't have a face cam, nobody gives a shit to watch you. But I
Hmm.
still see some guys that are pulling like 10K viewers, no face cam, just because they're good at the game. People
Yeah,
know they're good at the game.
yeah, definitely. You definitely have to like the guys who or the people who watch then, for example, a gamer like that, they'd
Hmm.
have to already be like, for example, if I just started playing PUBG today, and there was a guy who was amazing at the game, who didn't have a face cam and who didn't have any entertainment value, I likely wouldn't tune into him. I would tune into someone like Doctor Disrespect. But
Right.
for the fanatics of the game, for the hardcore players, for the people who genuinely know and understand the game and can see the skill, then you would go and tune into a stream like that, for example, to watch the skill. But
Right.
for streamers like that, it definitely appeals to those who already are aware and know the ins and outs of the game, kind of thing.
Hmm.
Like you wouldn't get a freshie kind of thing, like a first time player, going
Yeah.
and watching them just because really you wouldn't understand. It's like watching Escape from Tarkov. Like I would never watch anybody who is just really good at the game play simply because I wouldn't understand half the shit anyway.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I've got our last question. Should I just fire that off quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our last question comes from Oh My God.
Gabagoo.
Yeah, Galbagoo. The question is, what's your unhealthiest coping mechanism? Uh, I'll fire.
Plenty.
I'll start off. I'll start off. I personally, I shut off. Um, I kind of go dark with myself.
Mhm.
I don't respond to anyone. I don't answer anything. I kind of just box myself off. I don't know why. I've always kind of been like that. I kind of
Mhm.
just go into my shell and like don't really want to be bothered. But
True.
I think that's my unhealthiest way of coping.
Fair. That's a good one actually because it's like it's honest and
Hmm.
like it's real. You know what I mean? Like I was gonna say like vaping or something. It's not really a coping mechanism though.
It could
Like I don't
be. It
really.
could be if you're using it for stress.
Yeah. Like yeah. Yeah, I suppose I smoke it when I'm stressed, but I also smoke it when I'm not stressed. You know, like
Fair.
I just smoke the fucking thing. Like it's terrible. But an unhealthy coping mechanism. I think that I think that for me, an unhealthy coping mechanism that I have is like if I'm in distress or something, or if I'm Stressed out, I think that I kind of it's not even really a coping mechanism. It's more just something that I do and I really don't like about myself. It's like if I'm again if somebody pissed me off or something, or I'm angry in general, or on edge, I'll go downstairs, for example, and like my sister will be there, and like, or anybody, my friends, anything, and I'll kind of, I don't want to say I'll take it out on them because I definitely don't do that, but I'll kind of be very cold and kind of even more irritable, even if it's like my sister just asking me a question. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
When
I'm
like
the same way.
she right, yeah, so you get it. Like, yeah, they ask you a
Mhm.
basic question just because you're pissed off. Like you kind of that overflows into your other conversations. And that I don't really like because it's uncool and it's not fair to
Mhm.
whoever it is that you're talking to. I'm not sure that that's a coping mechanism or not, but it's definitely something I do in times where maybe I'm trying to cope.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what
Yeah,
I'd say.
I feel that. Um, yes, like, and it isn't cool, and it's hard to change that behavior.
Hmm.
Even especially because it's a coping mechanism. Like even for you, Joe, like how you say that you become more reserved
Mm-hmm.
and like you retreat into your own mind when you're under stressful situations.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something that is like so encoded into your mind that it's hard to figure out a way to change
Oh
that.
yeah.
But maybe it's something like that we can all work on, like trying to become more mindful, try to
Hmm.
become more mindful of, and like next time we get into like that sort of state of mind, we can try and realize it and make a change.
Yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
squash it
But
before it starts to show.
yeah, but for me, like a lot of times, a lot of things that I do, like when I'm under stress, is that I kind of tend to rely on things and like physical things to try and distract me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like whatever it is, it could be anything. It could be movies. It could be video games are a big one. You know, smoking,
Hmm.
drinking, all kinds of things. Basically, all my vices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just to try and distract me from what's really going on, from the deep rooted issues. And yeah, that's not very damaging. I mean, that's very damaging.
Hmm.
Or it could be if I just abuse it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's mostly tied in with procrastination.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
There's nothing more stressful than that, man. When it's really crunch
Oh
time and you've just
God.
jerked off for so long and you're just You're
Yeah.
angry because you have to do work, but you're also angry at yourself because you put it off for so
Hmm.
long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um, you know what you mentioned drinking, like not that like like you're drinking, you know what I mean, but like
Yeah.
it crossed my mind as well for me, and I thought, well, you know what, I don't really do it to like to cope. I really don't. I don't really have that like affinity towards. I like to drink, but I don't
Uh
really
huh.
have that. But then I thought back to like kind of twice in my life where I was like genuinely like I wasn't like hammered all the time, but I was kind of like maybe a little more liberal with my with the amount of drinks that I would have for absolutely no reason, just because it wasn't so much like, oh fuck, like I really just need to take my mind off of this. It was more just like, fuck,
Hmm.
I need something to do, so I'm gonna have a few drinks right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I'm gonna do this right now because I want this to get out of my mind. When really, like, I think if you try to just avoid something, then it just allows it to linger even longer. Like, it's better to just deal with shit as soon as you can, address it right away. That way, like, you have like more time to figure out a plan to like try and solve whatever issue it is
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
and like stew on it, like think about it in a more reasoned approach.
For sure.
But I don't know, man. Stress is stressful.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Juice. I
But
notice.
I gotta take a piss.
I
Anyway, wait. Ask quick.
I
What's up?
notice your headset. It has like that. One sec. You see, like we have this very similar the wire here coming out the back, right? Sorry, I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to see. So, do you ever find that it's kind of annoying if you're trying to lean back or something? Like it hits your shoulder, maybe. Like if you're like this and like
No, not really. I
no.
like the wire. I don't know, man. Like whenever it's not in, because like I could use it wirelessly,
Hmm.
but when it's not connected, I find myself reaching for the wire.
Oh
Like I
shit.
don't know. It's a weird habit.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess just after so much time, you know.
For
But
sure.
I gotta take a piss. I'll be
Okay,
right
okay.
back.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, cause Joe, where's it? Where's is? Yeah, where's yours? Is yours like hidden? I guess that's kind of like what I'm asking because like, let's see. It's kind of a bit blurry. Like you're kind of a little bit choppy right now. I can't really
It's like right
see it
there.
too well. Okay, okay, okay. I just got a good look at it. Yeah, because like the thing that I don't like about this one is it's like the actual USB. This is like the module or like the piece that's attached. Like imagine if this were it. I can
Mm-hmm.
hold on to that part inserts. Where I'm holding on to right now is like that's exposed. And in my old headset, all that would come out is just the flimsy wire. It wouldn't be bound the rest of it was hidden inside of the headset.
Right.
The actual like module, the USB, was hidden inside of the headset, so it didn't cause me any of this like stiff. For this piece right here, stiff. It didn't cause any of that
Oh.
stiff resistance because the stiff part was hidden inside. So
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering if that was typical for headsets or not because I've my last two headsets were Sennheiser and both of them were like that.
Yeah,
So
this one it's got like a stiff portion, but it only goes like up to here,
right.
and the rest is just it's all flimsy.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
see.
like that braided cable.
Oh yeah, oh those are good, man. Those are really good.
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
little I'm a little upset that this one isn't braided because that shit's good for durability.
Oh yeah, you know how many times I've run over my cable with my chair or something stupid like that. So
Hmm.
it's much better to have something like this, I think.
Man, in my condo or like in the condo, when I was living there, it was that was my number one concern, because I would run it over all the time because the way that
Mhm.
my desk and computer was positioned. Now I'm lucky that I'm able to feed everything like kind of behind and up so that it follows down that way. So
Right.
I never run the risk of running over my wire anymore. But I hated that, dude. When I did that, I wanted to fuck. I'd be so mad at myself every time I did that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the number one reason I got another headset
You kept on
because of
running it
that issue.
over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the wireless specifically I needed.
Right. I'll be right back, boys. I got to piss too.
Mm-hmm. We're all gonna take turns.
Yeah, eh? That type of that type of day.
Oh yeah.
I've been drinking water like crazy, man.
Oh, me
And
too.
yeah, I'm actually mad about how many plastic bottles I've been using
Yeah.
because I like yeah, it's just not good, but my fridge filter needs to be replaced and I don't know when my dad's going to order it.
Mm-hmm. Now's a
Hmm.
shit time for something like that too, because
Yeah, exactly.
everything's even more delayed than it already is.
Hmm. And like even in like grocery stores, like supplies are limited,
Yep.
you know.
Mm-hmm. What a time. What a time. Speaking of what a time it is, I think we're gonna watch a video when Lou comes back that
Mhm.
Juice was talking about earlier in the episode, just to give kind of a little preface of what it is. It's basically about this virus that's happening right now, and a guy kind of storytelling to his kid about the virus when the virus is all over. It's a really good video to kind of ground you and make you understand that this virus isn't all bad and it's doing some positive things too. So
Yeah, it's kind of like anticipating um like what the future is going to be like after this is done, like
yeah.
how historical this time is and like how unprecedented it is.
Mm-hmm.
Um and it's like really like it's pretty interesting the way that it's framed. It's almost like you said, it's like a storytelling, like it's a guy like telling a story to his kid at night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um yeah. That's very and it is like pretty poetic, but I have a few issues with it that I'd like to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
But
Do you guys want to run
We
it?
can do it.
Yeah.
Joe's got a piss too.
No, I'm good.
Are
I'm
you-
good. I'm good.
Oh, you're good right now. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm ready to run it.
Let's do it.
Did we finish up our?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I will just full screen. I'll just bring it over like
Mm-hmm.
this. I'll full screen that.
Perfect. And if you guys want to watch the actual video, we're gonna leave a link in the description of the YouTube video, as well as shout out the video after we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
All right. Yeah. So I guess I'll just even do that before we even run this. The Great Realization is posted by somebody who's called Probably Tomfoolery, and yeah, that's his account on YouTube. All right. So here it is. Actually, oh yeah, you boys can watch it too. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Last week, when I watched it for the first time, it had like 400,000 views. Now it's like 4 million.
Yeah,
Wow.
it popped off.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure the sound is working. No, you can't hear the video.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, there are subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but.
We'll fix that for the next episode.
Mm-hmm. We'll just put the link there.
Mm-hmm. All right. So again, for just the listeners, if this is the time to stop fast forwarding through the darkness or through the nothingness, I guess. Um, for like obviously the rerun of the podcast. For the viewers, you guys can see the video and the link has also been posted.
Mm-hmm.
The name of the video, if you're not live in the Twitch chat, is just the Great Realization, and you can find that on YouTube. It's also been posted to our TUNFB Twitter account, so you can find it there
Mm-hmm.
as well. And if you do go there, make sure to drop the follow. Um, so yeah, thoughts on that?
Uh,
Yeah, I just think. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, 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 go, go, go.
Yeah, I just think it's a little optimistic. You know, um, I think it's good. Like the message it sends across is good, and it's true.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, the climate is benefiting from us being inside and not polluting as much as normal, and like the skies have been growing clearer, the oceans are less full of plastic, but it's assuming that once this is all over, we're all going to continue to pollute less and not and somehow keep up with these habits that we've created while under quarantine. And I just think that that's not what's going to happen. I think as soon as this is over,
Mm-hmm.
everyone's just going to return to normal, like back to their driving ways, back to their commuting. Well, I do think that, as a side note, I do think that some companies are going to realize that now that they don't, now that they've been operating like pretty much normally with all their employees at home, I think that they'll adjust and continue to do that. But for the most part, I think everything's just going to return to the way it was,
Yeah,
and
Mm-hmm.
the climate will go back to the way it was. I don't think these effects will be permanent.
Yeah. No, I,
If that makes any
I
sense.
definitely agree with you 100%. I do like the message that it sends, but like you said, it is very optimistic. Um, is it going to be like that in 10 years, maybe 20 years? No, I don't think so. Because everyone's was living such a fast-paced life. It's not like it was just a year that people were living such a fast-paced life and they needed this halt to remind them, hey, remember last year when you were, spending more time with your family and polluting less and commuting less and all that stuff. Right now, there are people that are cursing that they've been home for 2 months with their families because they're dying to go back to work.
hmm
So the mentality still isn't really ingrained into a lot of people that the little things do matter,
hmm
right?
Uh-huh.
These people are still more concerned about just getting back to their everyday, fast-paced life. Go to work, go home, sleep, do the next thing the same day or the following day, the same thing the following day. So I don't think it's going to change the mentality of people. I do really like the video.
hmm
I do really I like that it shows some positivity and kind of like this. It's like that burning light in a dark room, if you want to use that kind of metaphor,
Yeah,
where
they
it's
literally used
yeah,
it. It's cool that you
yeah,
even like that you addressed that. I didn't even really think
yeah,
about that.
yeah, because it's really a shitty time, but we also need to understand that people are complaining about sports being canceled and stuff like that. Oh, sports haven't been canceled since the Second World War. Well, are you being put on the front lines? Do you have to go to war? No, all you're being asked to do is stay home,
hmm
spend time with your family, right? For some people, yes, it's tough because money becomes an issue. But for those that money isn't an issue, they're still complaining. All you have to do is stay home. Enjoy some time with your family, wind down, slow down. When everything goes back to normal, you can go back to your crazy life that you want to live.
hmm You, you know what, man? I actually want to address the money thing directly, because us being able, so quarantine for many has brought on like these it is allowed for us to do a lot of the things that were touched on in the video, and not only that, but yeah, well, and the like less pollution is a result of people staying home. The animals, obviously, they gave the example of the turtle growing. Even I've read like trees and fauna, is that the word, flora in certain areas,
Flora,
well,
yeah.
both fauna and flora, I guess, in certain areas are starting to kind of thrive. And hell, like even in Toronto, there's animals walking the streets and stuff, which you would never normally see under normal circumstances. So that's all
Hmm.
cool. It's really interesting. But I think that what we have to recognize is that that us being able to stay home and actually take advantage of the quarantine in the way that the video kind of shed light on or shone light on, it's from a position of privilege. We're lucky
Hmm.
that we're lucky that we're making this 2 grand a month from the government, or that, for example, some of our companies are paying us still to stay home. We're
Hmm.
lucky that we don't need to pay for the roofs over our heads. Like, but there's so many people. The reason I think that this is, or like my bit on to, as to why it's so optimistic, is because there's for so many people, their lives haven't changed. They are still trying to go out to work every single day because they have no choice but to. Like, if you look in places like in South America, do you think that they're quarantined as heavily just because of this virus? Hell no, man. They're still grinding the same way that they would have had to just for basic survival. Um,
Exactly.
before quarantine. For so many people, their lives have barely changed because they still need to provide for themselves, their families, whatever it is. So I think that a lot of that optimism, or a lot of the optimism that comes from the video, it's unfortunate because it's only from a point of view of for those who are, who have the advantage or who are even privileged enough to stay home and, like I said, take advantage, quote, of the benefits, I guess, or of the quarantine.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And for us specifically here in Canada, like it was just announced like an hour ago, the that the wage subsidy from the government, I think it was like 500 million or 500 billion, I don't even know the number. Some absurd number is being granted to companies to cover the wages of their employees. It's been extended till past June.
Yeah.
So like we're lucky that our government is taking this seriously, unlike you know what's going
Yeah.
on in the states.
Hmm.
Like even in America, like people like the unemployment rate is like 15% right now, which is like absurdly high for them. Like usually it's like I think 5%.
Hmm.
And yeah,
5%'s low. 5%'s very low.
5% is very low. Yeah,
Yeah, I think that it's
exactly.
usually like 8-9% is the range.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But jumping up that extra
To
6% is
Yeah.
15,
big. That's massive, right?
especially in correlation with their population, right? So
Hmm.
See, I
it's definitely a
actually
lot of people.
that's that right there is another problem, or like not a problem. We're lucky that our population is only 38 million, and that our country
Yeah.
is obviously a, one of like one of the richer countries in the world. Like, we're first world. So we're lucky that we have both the government that we have. Like, in I don't mean to say. I don't want to go out here and say like
Yeah.
Trudeau's party,
Yeah,
like
like
the Liberal Party of Canada.
in
I mean,
praised.
right. I mean, like our body of governance,
Hmm.
in Canada. We're lucky to have that. Not only that, honestly, we're lucky to have 38 million people. Because if we did have 350 million people or 330 million people, whatever it is, just like the states, I can almost guarantee you that we wouldn't be receiving this $2,000 a month that we're getting.
Oh no.
Hmm.
So that's kind of like another problem, or another obstacle, I guess, for the government in the U.S. Outside of the fact that they're much more, kind of like small government style, still, obviously democratic. Their governance is definitely different than
Hmm.
here in Canada or lots of places in Europe, right? So we're also lucky in a sense that we have such a small population relative to
Yeah.
the states.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean like it would be amazing if that were to happen, and like hopefully this like helps wake up like energy companies into investing more of their resources into renewable sources of energy rather than coal. Like I don't know why coal's still a thing. Like I don't know
Honestly,
why
dude, I'm not sure
people.
that it's used in Canada anymore.
No, it's not used in Canada at all.
Hmm.
But they're it's still used in the states, and I think maybe in China. I'm not
Oh,
sure.
definitely China. Definitely
Yeah.
China.
Um. But like it's just wild, man.
Hmm.
That it's there's still like this resistance to science. It's just mind-boggling.
Hmm. Hmm.
But
Well, man, when it comes down to it, especially for corporate companies. It's not even necessarily a resistance to science. I think that for a lot of people, they put on this, or for a lot of these companies, maybe they put on this face of resistance to science, but really all it is nickels and dimes, dollars and
Numbers.
cents, right?
Yeah.
Like it's uh, I'd be amazed if as many people who kind of deny climate change actually believe it, or if it's just like kind of a cover up just to just for business,
Hmm.
right? Like, because it's
That's
crazy.
true.
You're right. You can't deny, like, the science is there, and I think all I'm saying is I think it's less it being denied and more so them just refusing to adapt to or refusing to recognize the science because it then in turn hurts themselves or hurts their
Their own
profits.
gain. Yeah.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, man. Obviously, because like shit, what are we gonna do? Like, what do you do about the earth? Like, it's important. It's all we have. It's literally the one thing that we're all born with. You know what I mean? We're all born with like the earth here for us. But if the earth is no longer, then we have nothing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. And but I think it's inevitable that that it heads down to that path where we no longer have it because like we've just created a way of life for ourselves that is just like even if you're not the most privileged person, you still have adjusted to a way of life that is just based around consumption
Mhm.
and and it's just an endless cycle. Like even while we're still here, like we're still consuming more than ever,
Hmm.
and like not in renewable ways at all. And it's just a cycle that's just gonna continue.
Yeah. No,
I'll be right
there's
back.
no slowing. Yeah, sounds good.
Hmm.
There's no slowing down the machine. I don't think at this point.
Yeah.
No matter no matter the great realization or not, kind of thing.
Yeah. Exactly. There's still gonna be pushback, but fuck, man. I don't know. I've got Control downloaded here, and I'm fixing to play it.
All right. Well then, when Joe
But
returns, we can we
quickly
can
jump
do our
into
little
that
chat
thing.
on the voyboy League of Legends video. Yeah, because we've hit an hour now at this point,
Hmm.
56 minutes in. So yeah, when Joe gets back, for the listeners, what we're gonna do is we're gonna discuss for any League of Legends players out there. There's a pro player called voyboy. He streams on Twitch, and basically he just released a video uh, expressing his discontent with the state of the game right now, and yeah, that's pretty well what the video sums up, is just how he's not happy with solo queue in the game. For those who don't know what solo queue is, it's basically in League you can play with your buddies, play with a team of up to 5, and solo queue is oftentimes a lot more difficult because you hop into a game with 4 other players that you're likely not communicating with over the mic or are able to talk to a lot to kind of, well, like I said, communicate, use your comms. So solo queue is inherently a more difficult game mode to
Hmm.
play in, and he was just expressing some discontent with how solo queue is being managed by Riot Games, the creators of League of Legends. And here he is
All
to
right.
get it
Sorry about
going.
that.
Yep,
No
no
worries.
problem. We're I just gave like or just let the listeners know what we're gonna talk about with Voyboy, and we can get into it.
Perfect.
We're
All
not
right.
gonna watch the video, right?
No,
That's
it's 90
too
No,
long.
minutes.
it's a little long. So if
Yeah.
you do want to see the video, you can check out Voyboy. He posted it on Twitter. He titled it "The Sad State of League Solo Queue." Um, I wasn't here, but I'm sure Lou explained it really well
I
about.
just really explained what solo queue was,
Mhm.
and explained. I didn't go into the description of his issues with it just yet. I just gave a little like briefing.
Got it.
Yeah, I figured honestly you'd be able to get into it a little better because I know that you watched it earlier and kind of sent it to
Mhm.
us, right? So
So,
yeah.
I'm gonna start off basically just by kind of explaining bits and pieces of the video. The guys are gonna jump in with anything that they want to add or anything like that.
Hmm.
And then I think it'd be cool if we kind of share our own experiences as well.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And for those who don't know about the game of League of Legends, one of the biggest games in the world right now. Whether it's through esports, through streaming, through just player base alone, um, it's been massive for a decade now. Um, we've been playing since around season 5, season 6. So we've been playing this game for about five years, I want to say. Maybe even from season 4 we started. Some of us. It's been about 6 years. Um, in the case of voyboy here, he's an ex-pro player. So he played on the esports scene. Uh, he's been playing from season 1 to season 10, and he streams the game consistently with about 10,000 viewers. He streams full time now, and that's what he does for a living. And he basically comes out with this video talking about the sad state of League solo queue, saying how the game isn't changing in a good way. Um, Before, when you used to play, reports used to mean something. Now it's at a point where a lot of people are joining into his games and stream sniping. And for those who don't know what stream sniping is, it's basically you watch the stream and you try and find the person in game while they're streaming by using cues from the stream to jump in. Whether it's a game like League of Legends, whether it's a game like Fortnite, whether it's a game like Call of Duty, you can stream snipe in any game if you time it right. And there are people that sit there and do that. And some people do it just because they want to say hi. Some people, or the majority of people, will do it because they want to jump into the game and kind of ruin the streamer's experience. And in the sense of in the aspect of League of Legends, someone will join the game and play horribly on purpose, just to ruin and kind of trap the streamer there for at least 15 minutes, and the stream's got to watch this. And basically, what he says is it doesn't look good on the company at all. And the reason it doesn't look good is because these people are constantly doing this with no punishment. He says the last 5 months of League is the worst League he's ever experienced in his life. And he's been playing for a decade. And it's making him want to stop playing. For his chat to have to see, and his viewers to have to see all of these players griefing his games, intentionally feeding into his games, holding him hostage in some of his games, that some people think it's funny in the chat, and it just creates an even bigger base of people that are willing to do that. And he says it's in every elo. He's in one of the top elos called Challenger. That's the very top. You can't get any higher than that unless you're rank 1, or it goes by number at that point. Whether you're rank 1 or rank 200, you're in Challenger, you go by your rank number. For us in lower elos, it still happens. I've personally had quite a few experiences where people will jump in and kind of play like idiots and just say, who cares? It's low elo. You report those
Mm-hmm.
people, nothing ever really happens. And the same thing's happening in higher elo. And a lot of people can turn around and say, well, you know what? He's got Riot in his pocket. He can do and say as he pleases. And if he says that he wants someone banned, they'll get banned. It's not working like that. I've seen a few instances where it's worked like that, but it's definitely not working like that in his case. And he makes a lot of valid points. I'm kind of chewing your guys' ear off now, so I'm gonna let the boys jump in with kind of some of their remarks, and then we'll go off with some of our experiences.
Hmm. Well, I just want to quickly say, when Joe mentions Elo like being in Challenger, it's basically it's the highest rank, like Joe said, in the game. So for people maybe who don't game, like if you're at that level in a game like League of Legends, it's taken pretty seriously. Like it's a very competitive level of play. It's the closest thing you can get to playing professional League of Legends. A lot of challengers are pro players that just play solo queue or whatever outside of their pro play. So it's not just that somebody's hopping into a game and just being funny and trolling. Like these guys take it seriously, and other players. It's not even only about the streamers. It's about the other players who are in Challenger who don't even stream. They don't want their rank to be fucked up, or they don't want to lose a game because somebody's in their game just intentionally giving kills to the other team, which in turn makes your team weaker because you have less money to spend on abilities and stuff, or on items rather.
Hmm.
So that's like a very basic breakdown of League. Obviously, it's more detailed than that, but um, the griefing it's definitely serious just because it's not because of how seriously the game is taken at that level. Like Joe said, for a lot of people, playing League at Challenger level is their job, and
Hmm.
maybe esports or video games isn't quite at the point yet where people recognize that as a legitimate job, but not for anything. A lot of these streamers make big, big money. So, whether you want to, write it off as something that's bullshit, that's up to you. I mean, personally, I see it as a job, as I'm sure the three of us here do,
Hmm.
because hell, man, a lot of them make good money for the work slash the playing that they do, and that's what they dedicate their time to, and and the money that they're making is like people giving them money, like it's donations and stuff. So what difference does it make? Like if it's evident that there's an audience, is what I'm saying,
Hmm.
a paying audience that is.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's the problem with the griefing, is that it's taken very seriously and very competitively at those levels, and it's not fair for them to be griefed.
The first thing I have to question is Riot's matchmaking system. Like, if these guys are playing in Challenger tier, they'd most likely be matched up with other Challenger players who, like you said, take the game also very seriously, and they
Hmm.
don't go into it planning to grief other challengers. Like they're playing to win. They're not playing to just like screw off and try and feed intentionally.
Hmm.
So I'd imagine if a challenger is in a solo queue game and he's getting players like this, I'd imagine that they're not challenger tier players. They'd have to be lower tier players who I don't know how I don't know how the matchmaking system would allow them to slip into a a match full of challengers. Like
Hmm.
that doesn't make sense to me. And even for us, like when we're playing as bronze players or iron players or whatever, how is it that we have a team full of lower skilled players and then we jump into a game against players full of with teams full of golds and silvers and people above our ranks?
Hmm.
Like that just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, honestly, Juice, I'd say when it comes to the challenger ranks, those who are trolling, I'd put my money on the accounts are purchased,
Hmm.
or it's a challenger player that basically is giving up on League. They're done playing. They have no interest, or they have a personal vendetta against one of the streamers. Because a lot of these guys, they once you're playing at the challenger level, if you play 10 games in a day, you might get matched up with somebody who you've played with 3 times already that day, kind of thing. Right?
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
Like it's a very small pool of players. So I'd say that the challengers that are trolling, like I said, they either A, purchase the account, B, have something against somebody like voyboy, I'm a cutie pie, T1, whatever it may be, and they want to specifically fuck their game up. Or C, it's kind of like a challenger player gone bad, where maybe they're done playing the game and they're like, you know what, fuck this, I'm not playing this shit anymore. Before I get this account banned, let's go and have some fun and troll some people.
Hmm.
Those are my guesses, at least, as to, like, I doubt that it's a failure of the matchmaking system at that level.
Yeah.
In our level, we can get screwed big time. Being as like bronze, silver level players, we can get screwed by playing with golds, or being placed with iron fives, kind of thing.
Yeah.
On the opposite spectrum of things. But the player base is also a lot bigger in those ranges, and I think that a part of that is just making fast queues. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is exactly what I was gonna jump in and say.
Hmm.
I think it was last year or maybe a year and a half ago now, where challenger players were really complaining about their queue times. A lot of their queue times hitting 15 minutes, half an hour.
Hmm.
Um, so what they did is they diversified the pool, and they threw diamonds into the challenger pool now.
Right.
So you're seeing a lot of these hard stuck diamond players jumping in, and those are the people that are trolling these games.
For sure.
Those are the people that are jumping in and trolling these challenger games, these challenger players who take this game so seriously, do this and play this game for a living,
So you're
and
saying that
ruin
they.
their.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So they changed. So last year they changed, or like whenever recently, I guess they changed the matchmaking system so that you said platinum or diamond. I'm not sure what's happening.
Diamond.
That diamonds can likely be matched up are more likely to be matched up with challengers because to reduce the queue times.
Absolutely.
Okay, got it. So you think that it's a lot of diamonds that are trolling then, and not
Absolutely.
necessarily.
Definitely. Yeah, the majority of the challenger pool, you would assume they're there because they have a passion for the game. You can't play 15 games of League a day if you don't like the game and you just want to troll your games. You
Yeah.
can't. Um, my guess is they're all coming from Diamond. And he was even talking about how he would report them and check their match history and see that they're still playing the game after that and the game after that and doing the same thing over and over again.
Hmm.
It's unfortunate because this game we put so much time into. I can only imagine the way these guys are feeling because it's a game that I'm not ready to let go of. I'll always go back to League, especially if they announce that they fixed it.
Hmm.
But it's too rage-inducing for me right now, and I don't get mad over video games. I don't. But this game in particular, just because you have to devote so much time to one game, I think that's what gets under people's skin the most.
Hmm.
Is the fact that you have to devote so much time. If you only have an hour to play video games or 2 hours to play video games a day, you might only be able to get 2 games of League in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone messes up your first game, why are you going to want to go and jump into another one when you
Yeah.
only have an hour left to play your video games for the day before you have to go to bed because you got work in the morning or you have to go out somewhere, right? You got homework to do. Like,
Definitely. It happens all the time, where we say, okay, I can get a quick one in.
Yeah.
Like it's time restrictions real for sure. Obviously, it's been less so lately, but what's the solution? Let's talk about that. What do we think the solution to this is?
Well, I have one quick thing I just want to say before we get into that. It's about like stream sniping
Mhm.
and stuff like that. I have a quick question, and it's that are these players who are complaining about stream sniping, are they smurfing?
you know what? Some of the guys, they are smurfing. And
Okay,
what they don't understand is the problem is you're pooling yourself with these lower elo
exactly.
players who are prone to screwing up games anyways.
If they're smurfing, they shouldn't be complaining at all.
Exactly.
Because smurfing is another part of the reason why the community is so toxic. It
Mhm.
just fuels this system of mismatchmaking where players aren't being matched according to their skill. Their skill isn't judged properly.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
Riot just needs to take more action on Smurfs and all that because it's damaging to the community and it's
Yeah.
damaging to the people who actually care about the game. I have no sympathy for people who are smurfing and they're complaining about stream sniping. On the
Mhm.
other hand, there's the people who are legitimate challengers and who are trying to play to win and stuff like that, and they're getting their streams ruined. And for them, I agree with their
Outrage.
anger. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like you have to expect something like that in lower elo because these guys need to understand that you think that people are ruining your player experience while you're smurfing. You're ruining someone else's player experience while smurfing because let's face it, you're a lot better than that pool of guys that you're in a
yeah,
game with right now. And whoever won the die roll to get you on their team, they likely have 1 foot over the fence already in winning the game before the game even started.
For sure.
So these
Exactly.
people, no wonder players are gonna gun for you. It's because you were in their game last game. You just went 30-1, made them
Mhm.
forfeit at 15 minutes because you're a challenger player playing in gold.
Yeah, and trying to make content aimed at these people,
Mhm.
trying to help to say like, oh, how to climb from bronze to challenger, or how to climb from silver to diamond, or whatever. You know, you're trying to give them this false hope that they can just go into a game and just absolutely shit on every single player in the lobby.
Yep.
When really the only reason that that's possible is because you're a smurf. Like, yes, your game sense is different, and your moving, your pathing is different, and whatever, and you might be putting out helpful content, but at the end of the day you're still at an unfair advantage just because of your skill level.
For sure. And you know what, man? In Counter Strike, for example, smurfing's a bannable offense.
Is it
Yeah.
actually?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think
that's
it is in
Riot
League.
claims.
Riot claims that it's a bannable offense.
I believe so.
Dude,
Yeah.
well, like we've been talking about, all their fucking shit. Look at T1, dude. He just
Yeah.
recently did a whole. He just recently did a series where he did a big climb, X rank to X rank. Cutie Pie, I know for a fact has done it. I don't really know of any other League streamers who have done it, but it exists, no doubt. Like,
Hmm.
I'd actually say that the majority of them do, because I know for sure that the majority of them have multiple accounts. Like voyboy, I'm sure doesn't just play on whatever his main account's name is. Like,
Oh, absolutely not. A lot of these players, they'll hit a dodge timer and they'll log into another account because they don't want to wait the dodge timer.
oh well, there you go. And
Yeah.
I'd say it's unlikely that they have 4 accounts that are all challenger, because that's a real pain in the ass to get. That's hard fucking work to get 4 accounts up there. So it's more likely that it's like, maybe they have one challenger. Maybe their other account is a diamond. Maybe they have an account that's a platinum because they barely really played on that account. So now, right there, basically what you guys have been discussing,
Mhm.
the fact that smurfing it's evidently not a bannable offense in the eyes of Riot, because it's done every single day on Twitch, which is their number one platform for streaming. In fact, League
Yep.
of Legends, dude, I watched a video the other day that was like it's one of those, it's from that channel Data is Beautiful, and he does the charts. So
Uh-huh.
one of the ones that I've seen before is like most played sports players from 1986 to 2020, right? So and it's just like the whole videos, you guys know the videos anyway.
Mhm.
They did one for most viewed um, games on Twitch, and dude, League from basically Twitch's birth up until 2016, I think, was the number one game. League and Twitch have a very intimate relationship with one another.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So I think that like what I'm saying is that it can't go unnoticed by Riot that their top streamers are smurfing. Like that's complete and
Yeah.
total
Yeah.
bullshit,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I mean, they kind of pave the road for themselves, like we've already said. If you throw yourself into a situation like that, you got to expect some sort of response. It's a ripple effect. You throw a rock in a pond, it's not going to make a splash. That's my analogy I'm going to use.
Hmm.
Them being the rock, the pond being the pool of silver and gold players they just threw themselves into the mix with.
Hmm.
You have to expect that for someone or people like us who have been playing in lower elo, for the majority of our league careers, if you want to call them. It happens all the time, and we're nobodies.
Yep.
This griefing and intentional feeding, people don't take it seriously.
Yep.
People don't. So if you're going to jump into a player pool that already don't care and put a target on your back, you have to expect something like that to happen. Does it suck that no one's getting banned for it? Absolutely. And that's where I will agree that something needs to be done there.
Hmm.
But at the same time, if the shoe fits, you can't jump into a bronze game as a diamond or platinum player and expect no repercussions.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, it ruins the player experience. And if you want the player experience to be better, stay in your elo. Please.
Most
For
definitely.
the greater good of the game, stay in your elo.
Yeah.
I
And
think
like,
part of the problem might be flex skew, the inability to play with your friends and have a 5-man and have your rank carry over. Like, why
Mhm.
does it have to be two different ranks? I think that might be part of the problem. But sorry to
Mhm.
interrupt you, Lou.
Oh no, that's all right, man. I agree with that, dude. It's really stupid. Flex queue's a fucking stupid thing to begin with. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
especially because you're limited to only two. Like three, I think that if they really wanted to do that, you should be able to at least have three, and make flex queue only 5-man teams, only 5-man
Hmm.
compositions. If they really wanted to break it up like that.
Yeah.
Um, but what I was gonna say was another thing about these streamers is like, so sure, voyboy came out saying that he himself is being griefed. Like a lot of other streamers are being griefed. Look, there's stream delay that you can set
Yeah.
up, and it sucks because you can't interact with your chat as much. But dude, if you're really that miserable about it, you're making the choice to put your game on display,
All right.
right? And not only that, dude, but when it comes to griefers, how many times have us personally been on a team where the game's not going well, and one of the players just snaps and basically just says, "Oh, you know what? Fuck this. We're gonna lose this game anyway. I'm running it up mid." Now
Mhm.
we already spoke about this, the smurfing. I bet you that these streamers don't have a problem when they're absolutely stomping on some silver players, and all of a sudden the other one player on the other team just starts running it up mid because he's pissed off that he's getting
Right.
stomped
Hmm.
by this one guy. So the thing is, like, it definitely has to be looked on both ways. They're pissed off that they're getting griefed, but I'm sure that they're playing games where the other team's getting griefed as well,
Mhm.
right?
Most definitely.
Regardless, it has to be fixed, but
Mhm.
it's
Yeah. No.
important to
The,
look at
the
it both
system.
sides.
The
Yeah.
system definitely needs to be fixed. Like we said, the whole griefing and all that. I just think they need to edit their report system. Um, Another thing is a lot of people are complaining that they'll send in actual screenshots and stuff like that to Riot of things that people say to them, clips of their games of someone physically running it down, ruining their game, griefing their game, inting their game, playing AP Graves or playing Nunu support with Ghost and Cleanse, and just griefing the game on purpose, just throwing. They know they're in there to lose, to ruin your experience. They'll send them clips, and Riot will respond with their Blitzcrank bot, which is their automated bot that responds.
Yeah.
And the automated bot will say that their volume is too high right now, so that your ticket cannot be submitted.
Right.
So it just completely disregards the entire thing.
I think that maybe a system that they could definitely. I mean, I know nothing about coding or anything, obviously, but I think that there must be a way for them to implement some sort of system where if you if you report somebody for inting, let's say
Mhm.
the player has like 15 deaths, or no, what's the best way to put it? If a player is dying, like let's say 30 seconds after spawning, and that happens, say 7 times in one game, that
Mhm.
should be clear that they're griefing.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah,
they
there should be
get
some sort of indication.
exactly, and if they get say 3 reports from teammates, Riot should be able to match that data with the 3 reports and say, okay, this
Hmm.
is what happened. Whereas if it's a game like and that's a viable option, I think, because if it were a game with say the 5 of us and one of us actually legitimately dies 7 times 30 seconds after spawning, that might just be shitty luck. And as long as there's no report to match the data, then it should go under the table, right? It should,
Right.
like it should they should let it slide because that's likely legitimate mistakes. What I'm saying is that they have the resources, I'm sure, to create a system whereby they can determine with the use of their data whether or not somebody is inting. Like
Yeah.
they must, dude. Over a billion games have been run, like basically over a billion simulations. It's like when I play on chess.com and I'm in a certain position and then I review the game afterwards. It'll literally tell me our database reads that this position has been played X number, 1,000 times, 3 times, 1 million times, and it calculates the best next possible move
Hmm.
because they have all that data accumulated. Riot has the same capacity to accumulate all of this data from their over 1 billion games played kind of thing.
From 10 years of data.
Yeah, exactly. 10 years of
At,
data,
at this point, people are just looking at it like it's negligence, right?
for sure.
They're
It
definitely
is.
sweeping it under the rug, and it really hurts their player base because guys like us, I guarantee you, we would still be playing the game if we didn't encounter this so often. We would.
Hmm.
It's very difficult to play a game like that without a 5-man, and we say it all the time. And you can't play ranked without a 5, or you can't play ranked with a 5-man.
Yeah.
So it puts you in a really weird situation where now you're just queuing up for normal games, or you're just queuing up for flex queue that people don't take seriously anyways.
That's the
So it,
biggest troll. Fucking
yeah,
flex queue, man.
there's no reward at all. There really isn't. So I don't know. I genuinely think they're gonna fix it. Um, Shout out to our chat quickly. Meekly doesn't see league getting any better.
Oh yeah.
Personally, I agree. Vito, good morning. And we're talking about league right now. For those in the chat that want to know exactly what we're referring to, just to quickly backtrack, it's voyboy on Twitter released a video. I'm not sure if you guys watched it. Voyboy being a challenger player, high tier player, ex pro, and he basically talks about the state of League of Legends solo queue and how he is not enjoying League of Legends at the moment.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a good watch if you want to if you follow League and you want to check it out. But yeah, it's an unfortunate spot because I really like the game. Honestly, I do. We've put countless hours in. We've put money into the game too, and I'd like to have that enjoyability that I used to have playing that game, especially with my friends. We used to get together, like, yeah, exactly, Vito. You can only duo, and it sucks. And that's exactly what I'm getting at right now. Is we used to get together, bring our computers all to one person's house, and play League of Legends ranked, and try and climb as a unit, really.
Hmm.
But now you can't do that. You can only play with one of your friends. And chances are you getting 3 good teammates on your team that aren't going to grief, you lose that die roll 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily you're always getting people that are griefing your games. It's sometimes the matchmaking just sucks. And let's say you're a bronze 1 player in your promos about to go up to silver that you worked so hard for. But now all of a sudden you got 2 irons on your team because they're duoing too.
You know what? Actually, you mentioned promos, dude. Maybe a decent solution would be to allow 5-man queues for, let's say one of us is in our promo games. Maybe they should allow a 5-man queue for the promo, just to avoid any griefing or to help you. Man, they need to help the player base, dude.
Yeah.
It's a ruthless fucking ranking system, man, that requires 4 wins in a row. That's 25 LP per win, which is unheard of. So you need something more like 6 wins in a row, plus an additional 2 out of 3 games won in promos. What did I just say? 6 plus 8. You need to win 8 out of 9 games just to get out of bronze 2, iron 2, dude. You know what I mean? You need 8 wins out of 9. That's it's a really like demotivating it's a very demotivating task when it's in front of you. And maybe they should allow that. Maybe allow 5-man queues for promo games. That way you kind of have a better chance at making it through. Especially because like sometimes, dude, if you say, "Hey boys, come on," like especially if people are fighting in the game already, 10 minutes in type thing, and you send a message, "Come on boys, I'm in my promos, let's try to get this together." Oftentimes, dude, people are just more inclined to troll you at that point.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Personally, I just think that they should remove the whole flex system, bring back being able to queue with 5 people in ranked. Because honestly, why not just fix your matchmaking system to in the sense that it kind of penalizes people that are stacking, that are 5 stacking. So you have to wait a little bit longer in queue, and you likely get matched up against people who are 4-man or 5-man. That personally is what I think is the best thing to do, because they already do it in flex, where their matchmaking is, if you're stacking, you likely get matched up against another stack. It happens. It does. So you guys already have the system implemented. Get rid of flex queue that absolutely nobody plays. The data's there. Flex queue has been there for what, 3 years now?
Dude,
Do you see anyone playing flex?
Flex queue's been there for even longer now at this point, I think. When we
Yeah, and
started our League Fest, I think we had the Flex queue. Or like maybe not at our first ever League Fest, but in the
I think
later
at the
League
end.
Fests, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's been years, man, for sure.
So they have the data. They're capable of doing it. So they have the software of their matchmaking systems that enable 5 stacks to go against 5 stacks or fives to go against fours, etc.
They implemented in
But
Valorant too.
yeah,
And
exactly.
there's no
And that's
Flex
another
queue.
Riot game. But
Yeah.
that's a Riot game. You know what I mean? So if you play against fives, you're likely going up against another team that's stacked with fives, and rightfully so.
Hmm.
And honestly, it makes the game a lot more enjoyable. You can play it more competitively, and it's almost like you and your friends who are kind of shitty at the game have your own little esports thing going on.
Yeah.
You guys are playing competitively 5v5 every single game. That's awesome.
Definitely.
That's
And
something I can get behind.
man, you know what? Another benefit of Valorant, for example, playing in a 5 stack or a 4 stack is that there's a voice chat. There's an open voice chat. Now, I'm not
Mhm.
saying really that I'd like that in League
Oh,
because
absolutely not.
there's a really good communication system that doesn't require voice in League with all their pings and stuff like that. In fact,
Mhm.
it's a big part of the game to know how to effectively use your pings and how to effectively even observe pings on the map to gather information. But I think that maybe that would help with solo queuing or removing flex games is making a voice chat. That way, you're guaranteed to have some communication with your team. I
Mhm.
don't know. Yeah.
How much time we at?
We right now are at. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? An hour and a half. So I think we're pretty
Beautiful.
good here today, boys. Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
sir.
Yeah, and Mikuli says, "Screw League. It's all about Raid Shadow Legends."
Honestly, at this
Uh,
point, I would rather play some sort of mobile phone game than League.
hmm Yeah.
Honestly, and it's sad that that's the state of the game right now. But
Okay.
yeah.
And Beatrice also is in here. Our buddy Vito, and he's talking. Yeah, he's just basically saying League is the League community is toxic. There's always one teammate that screws up the game. Yeah, just conversing with the chat, I guess, is what he's doing in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We get to wrap her up then.
Yep, that's it. So if you want to give our shameless plug,
All right, perfect. Well, thank you everybody for stopping by and listening to our podcast. If you've made it this far, in the YouTube video, please leave a like, subscribe, as well for future content. We put out a podcast once a week. You can check out our new and improved website. That's the unfinished basement podcast.com, no longer .squarespace. We've got some awesome pieces there that Juice and Lou have been working on games and on some shows. You can definitely check those out. There are very good reads. Also, follow us on Twitter and Instagram for all things TUNFB, all your updates. That's going to be the Unfinished Basement podcast on both platforms. We post when we're going to go live, little behind the scenes things as well. And yeah, thank you for everyone who stopped by in the Twitch. You can check out our Twitch here. It's TUNFB Podcast, TUNFB Podcast. Follow us there. We go live during every podcast now since we're doing it remotely and from home. And yeah, it's a cool experience. So you can jump into our chat, ask us any questions. Like one of our viewers just asked right now, because I think I forgot to mention the YouTube. It's in the what's it called, the Twitch chat now, but it's also is it the Unfinished Basement Podcast? It's the Unfinished Basement Podcast, so you can
yep.
jump on there on YouTube and check everything out. But again, thank you guys so much for listening. Thanks for stopping by. We really appreciate everything.
Check out
And
that. Sorry, Joe. Check
no,
for Mikali. You can check out that link. That's our website, and subscribe to our mailing list if you want to know when we upload new blogs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, for everything TUNFB, follow all that. Thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you for being so patient while we kind of get back on our feet and get back into the swing of things. We're really enjoying our
Thanks.
time here.
Yep.
But yeah, for now, I've been Joe.
I'm Lou.
And I'm Juice.
Thank you all for listening. We will see you guys next week. Bye bye.
Bye.
See ya.